We're off the blocks in the Britannia Challenge Cup, the club men's Coxford event. Hinksey Sculling School on the right and Cantabrigian Rowing Club on the left of the picture.
Cantabrigian have put this as their main crew this year. They raced together at Marlow, but they're put together fairly late on in the season, so they're still really learning all the time. Pretty tight.
Yeah, there you can see a nice view here from our catamaran. It seems to have stalled, but that shows you how the boys transition to the booms. Both crews clearly with coxes a little bit more under control with the steering as they move on to the boom section of the course. We're going to need to fix our catamaran. As we look on behind from the start, you can see just how blowy it is down the course as the papers blow out of our commentary box too, Kath. Really tricky conditions.
Blustery, isn't it, as well? So you have that sense. It's not just one direction. There's a real swirl that comes from that with the wind plus the water being churned up by all the boats. So it's a lot to contend with, but that's actually the joy of rowing, that it's different every day when you go out. It can probably feel different each day this week, and it's who adjusts best. At the moment, Hinksey are looking really, dealing really well with that. You can see some of the blades, they're catching the water with the waves. It's tough going. Still early stages of the racing, but they have got that definite advantage.
Yeah, I think they moved really nicely off the start there, the Hinksey crew. A little bit younger than their opponents from Cantabrigian, but they've got a nice rhythm and they've got the boat moving quite nicely into this headwind. As we're talking about the wind, you know, it's one thing to have consistently strong wind, you know what you're dealing with, although it might be different, but here it's really challenging because it's changing all the time, and we've seen that giving problems to the steers people, but we also see that giving problems to the athletes. You can see the green flags to the left of our picture fluttering in a different direction from the flags on the right of the picture, and that gives you some indication of the swirl that's out there.
Affects the psychology because it just doesn't ever quite feel comfortable. You have that sense of uncertainty. How stable will the boat be in the next stroke? You know, and again, when you've got that fatigue that comes in halfway down the course or even earlier, you know, it's just another thing to contend with. But that's what's being thrown at us, and it's the crews that manage that embrace the uncertainty that comes with this water, and make sure they have the technical focus to get them through.
And so one thing the Hinksey crew on the left of the picture have is a little bit of experience. Bow and Stroke, I think, both raced last year in the same event, in the bow pair at that time of their Britannia 4. So they've got some experience from being down the Henley track last year, and they were in the final last year as well. So that gives them some determination to return, and also a feeling of experience and confidence knowing where they are in the course and they can deal with this course. And the other thing about the course, of course, is its extra length, the extra 112 metres, 2,112, makes pacing it different, and so some experience really counts.
It does, and on a day when there's a headwind, you really feel those kind of extra few yards, don't you? You can see actually in that Cantabrigian crew, they're chucking in some pushes. They've got three, James O'Dell, who's an ex-Brooks athlete. He's got the largest ergo in the boat, done some hard training in his time. He's rowed for Cantabs for 15 years. And he's really, you know, he's powering along in that crew, trying to keep attacking.
Yeah, so the Britannia Challenge Cup is an event that started way back in 1969. Holders last year, one of the few international visitors to Henley last year, Frankfurter Germania, a club that's loved attending Henley over the years. So it's an event that gets international attention, but here we've got two British crews fighting it out through the middle of the course. And this section of the course, I think we call it the Badlands sometimes. It's a little bit hard to know where we are. Just as we approach the halfway point, the banks are a little bit further away here than anywhere else in the course, so you feel the spectators are further away. It can be a bit of a dead zone, you know, kind of midway through the course. You don't know quite, it's not 1,000 metres because halfway's a bit further than that, so you can feel a bit lost here, and that's when you really need the cox to help you stay focused and aware of where you are.
You need a plan for that part. You really need a plan for that part to keep everyone focused, motivated, and keeping the technique there as well. We get a great shot there of Hinksey. And of course, the bow pair of this crew, Gabriel Reynolds and Nicholas Channing-Halford, they were in last year's final. They have been finalists at Henley. So they will have been really spurred on through the winter, thinking, I want to come back, and this time I want the red box with a medal. Immense experience. They know what it's like to go through every single round. So they have clearly come here on a mission to go even further than last year.
Yeah, great to have the experience, but also adds a little bit of attention, doesn't it, to have been in the final, not quite got it. So you want to make sure that this time you're confident you can do that, whatever the conditions, whatever the opponents. But I really like the way the Hinksey Sculling School are rowing. Obviously, famous for their sculling. Often scullers turn to rowing and make really, really good rowers as well. Just that sense of how to move a small boat where you get so much feedback really can help you apply that in a crew boat.
So it's the sport of watermanship, isn't it? So I think the more experience you have, whether it's small boats, sculling, rowing, the better. And again, on days like this, when the water is tricky, the watermanship skills get tested. You know, this is what's being measured alongside the power and the ergos that have been done. It's that combination of, you know, really creating your own stable base on this water that is swirling around you all the time, so that you can then apply the technique. That ergo is useless if you can't get the technical base to get it out on.
Yeah, and that applies personally, but then of course you've got to combine with 3 other folks in the boat, and that's all about finding a style of rowing and a rhythm that will bring out the best in each of the athletes. And everybody's got different physiology, different length or ratio of legs to bodies to arms. Everybody's got different musculature. So one of the arts of a crew boat is to combine that into a fluid stroke length and rhythm that can get the best out of each 4 athletes.
Absolutely, we can see all of that happening, can't we? In front of us as that Hinksey Sculling School crew eases past.
Yeah, I like the way they're rowing there, Kath. Really good. Nice rhythm set by Joe Travis in the stroke seat, but followed through Bodo Schulenberg at 3, Nicholas Challenor-Halford at 2, and Gabriel Reynolds in the bow seat. A young crew, but as you say, with some experience, and certainly enough experience to know where they are on the Henley track and to have taken a really commanding position from the start in this race.
So we've got more experience, and I think that's showing, haven't we? But it's brilliant to have Zachariah Oglesby in the 2 seat of the Cantabrigian crews here at his first Henley Regatta, as is Harry O'Connor in the stroke seat as well. So, you know, again, for them, this is a new level, a kind of new experience in their own careers. I'm really excited to be part of this event today.
Yeah, and young Gemma Clare in the Cox's seat for the Cantabrigian crew will be using all of her experience, including the bumps races at Cambridge and elsewhere, to motivate her crew to see if they can attack, to rouse them for a final attack. At Henley, you can't exaggerate too much how close you are to the crew behind, because the oarsmen can all see on the markers down the course the gaps between the crew. But the Cox, you can see there her face as she's talking constantly to the crew. That'll be a combination of technical instructions, encouragement, and so on. Yeah,
it's that mix, isn't it? Technique and motivation. Leave everything out there. They'll know their strengths. She'll know the things that will really motivate them to just leave it all and know they can walk away having had their best race at Henley.
So Gemma Clare Ali in the Cox's seat, lying low in the boat for Cantabrigian, is looking on, and ahead of her she can see Hinksey Sculling School well approaching the last 4 or 5 strokes of the race as they move across the line. And nice row by Hinksley, nice and controlled through there. Got some effort down, but got their race plan executed really nicely as they cheer Cantabrigian. So Hinksey Sculling School go through the first round of the Britannia Challenge Cup, beating Cantabrigian.